Taffy, you ever smash the like button?
All the time, pal.
Sure. You mentioned the Vangelis soundtrack. So
Yes.
I mentioned several times how this is a very moody and atmospheric film, and that's like half of the enjoyment of it. But so Vangelis's music doesn't fit with a lot of films. For instance, Chariots of Fire, as famous as that theme became, I don't find it to go together very well at all. I saw the movie for the first time maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and it just seemed very out of place. This movie, however, you do not have Blade Runner without that soundtrack. They're inextricably joined in the way that John Williams' motif is joined with a Star Wars film. They just go together like peanut butter and jelly.
I'm with you entirely. And that's the thing. When I saw the director's cut in the theater and there was no narration, that soundtrack just comes, it just comes right to the fore. You know, it's like, it's in your face, you know, it's this, you're flying in the spinner car and you're seeing all the neon and you're hearing all this wonderful music. It's so immersive. And you don't have that distraction of the reluctant heroes, reluctant narration, you know, and it's so, you know, and actually from a practical point of view, for years, I had a knockoff copy of that music. It was not the actual Vangelis soundtrack. It was by something called the New American Orchestra, I think, and had some of the themes. And it was as close as you could get, because with ASCAP, who knows? There's always, whenever you can't find a movie, it's 95% of the time it's because of the music. Mm-hmm. So once they figured that out, they released the soundtrack. I bought it immediately at full price, which is something that I didn't, you know, I was a poor college student. I didn't have a ton of money, but it was something I really, really felt I needed to have in my collection. And
yeah, I remember it very well. Because I don't remember how I found out about it. This was pre-World Wide Web days in the 1990s. But I got wind of the announcement that it was finally being released on CD, and I got it the week that it came out.
Yep.
It was great to hear because, yeah, for years, you know, it was probably, I don't know, when did it come out? Something around I want to say 1993, 94, something like that. So, you know, it was well over a decade that you couldn't get this music, which really stuck out because, as we mentioned, the music is very memorable. It's so heavily identified with this classic movie, and it was hard to understand why it couldn't be released. And I know the New American Orchestra version. I never bought it because, you know, I read the notes. I'm like, this isn't what I want. This is something else. But here's something interesting. I subscribe to the iTunes feature, which basically lets you stream everything that Apple has the rights to.
Nice.
And maybe 3 years ago, the Blade Runner trilogy was available. Are you familiar with this?
Tell me.
As an audio product. So the first disc is the movie soundtrack you're familiar with. The second is stuff that didn't come out the first time on the first CD release. And the third is music inspired by Blade Runner. It's all Vangelis. It's all his post Blade Runner inspiration stuff. I listened to it a lot, and some of it is quite good. And then I went to play it 6 months ago. Gone, no longer available. So there's still something going on in the digital rights management world.
Yeah. How interesting.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. But there's a case of if you didn't own the hard copy, now you don't have access to it. So I believe it was out there as a 3 CD set that you could buy. It might still be out there as a hard copy. I don't know. I haven't looked.
Well, it'd be easy to check eBay or something to see if it's available for like thousands of dollars. It's just as a total like offside. I like to read history books, and there was a history book that you and I were talking about, and I was looking for it, and I was like, oh, I'll send Gary a copy, and it's like it's unbelievable. It's either not available or it's at such an exorbitant price because it's out of print and it's a niche, and it's like they know that like booksellers made. I'm painting this with a wide swath, so I can't pretend to know the motivations of booksellers, but I imagine that like somebody knows that this book is rare enough that either a collector is going to pay whatever they ask, or an institution is going to buy it so they can have it in their library. And normally these are ex libris books anyway that they bought from a library that closed. And so you're going to have that stamp in there, and it's not, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's so frustrating. It's like,
oh yeah, there
don't
are
do
books that I
that.
want that are like that, but they're art books from the 40s and 50s that, you know, cost $2 at the time.
Yeah.
But they've been out of print for decades, and these artists have since become posthumously very famous. So yeah, you might pay $400 for these cheap books.
I just put them on my wish list, and every once in a while, a used copy will come up, or somebody will find it at a Goodwill or something. It's like $2.99. Oh, right. You know,
It
but
happens, yeah.
it does happen. It's rare. Anyway, well, that's off the topic, but